But the true problem with the region unfortunately falls on the back of one character for me. One that was so highly anticipated, not just by me, but by so many people in this fandom.
Oh, is this the
but
Colombina
she delivered
part?
so little.
Oh, is this the
Colombina.
Oh!
I know.
I think this is purely up to your interpretations on the initial impressions you would have for any unit in a game. Right? Because no one actually knows what Colombina is actually like until they reveal her in the story. Okay, like for example, all the analog horror and like the fan art where like she was actually really scary, right? I mean, they are just like personal interpretations of like what you want a character to feel based on what you think will fit. But when we as a player, okay, when I as a player gets exposed to Colombina, I don't really know what she's like. Super creepy angels with black hair, white hair, whatever hair it's gonna be. It is just like first impressions of what you see that character is right now before you ever play the story. At least for me, as a Genshin tourist, I really like the way they portrayed Colombina at the end because, hey guys, your local self-acknowledged Genshin Impact tourist here. My personal experiences with Genshin Impact has been, I believe I started the game around 2025. I'm not a day one player. I know the very, very bare surface understanding of the story and the lore, and not even like the story and the lore for every single chapter. Like for example, I have no idea what happened in Inazuma and Mondstadt and Liyue anymore because they're just too insignificant. Whereas the stories in, for example, Sumeru as well as Fontaine, and I guess Natlan, it was a little bit more impressionable for me. The reason why I'm talking about this is because I have seen this particular topic that has been going around in the Genshin community for the past couple of days, where I don't think I've ever seen a single instance where so many Genshin Impact players are essentially banding together to offer their differing opinions for this particular video called "Was Genshin Always This Weird and Bad?" I believe Brand Online, he also made another like 2-hour reaction to this super well edited, well thought out scripted video from Handy Babago. I personally don't think I'm gonna be able to react to the entire thing because frankly speaking, I don't think I know that much about Genshin lore to offer any insights, but this is just purely from the perspective as a Genshin Impact tourist, right? So I just figured it will be a pretty interesting viewing experience for our entire community. And without further ado, let's see, why does everyone hate this Genshin Impact video?
Before we begin, please be aware that this video contains very heavy spoilers for Genshin Impact up to version 6.4, also known as Luna 5, the current game version as of recording. So if you clicked on this video and haven't played up through these quests yet, and you are still interested in doing so, please watch this at your own risk. Also, I would like to say that while I play Genshin frequently, I'm certainly not a lore expert. It's also worth pointing out that Genshin lore only gets more confusing and convoluted as time goes on, so that might factor in as well. I might get stuff wrong. You can feel free to correct me about anything in the comments, but I will do my best.
That's very, very fair.
Let me just start by saying that Genshin Impact is one of my favorite games.
Yay!
I know that there's a lot to be said about Genshin, and that Genshin fans are kind of a meme. There's a lot of valid critiques to be thrown Genshin's way. For example, like many gacha games, they use a very predatory business model, and Hoyoverse makes millions of dollars off of FOMO and by fostering people's gambling addictions.
I'm literally just going to
I would argue Genshin is actually worse than a lot of other Hoyo games too, because it's not as generous. From my understanding, other games from this company have made up for a lot of Genshin's greed by giving away more free characters and by making it easier to obtain materials to level them up.
This video is off to a really good start because within the, I believe, first 1 minute and 25 seconds, this particular creator has glazed Goril 3 times. which is crazy. Off to the right foot, if I can say so myself, chat. Right? Oh, this is really, really good.
And the weapon and talent ascension materials
Sponsor
are
VHS,
still
alright,
only
there it is.
available for a few days each week, which is an outdated system that serves absolutely no purpose.
It's zero purpose, bro.
But
It's zero
despite
purpose.
all of
You're
those
absolutely right.
flaws, Genshin kind of stole my heart in the beginning.
That's so cute.
I had never played
That's
a
so
game
nice.
like this before, meaning a gacha game.
That's so nice.
I didn't know how the pity system worked. I did a 10 pull.
Oh, this
whenever
is
I had
this is our
fates,
first
and I
gacha
didn't
game.
save them at all because I wasn't keeping up with any upcoming banners or anything.
Okay, you
And I
know
would spend my
what? To be also
equally
like to be completely fair, right? Like a lot of chatters, most chatters, right? Especially if you're like watching this video right now, I would say majority of chatters they also probably play Genshin as their first gacha game. Realistically speaking, I would if I had to give a number, probably 10% of chatters played a gacha before Genshin. Because nowadays people only know Hoyo Slop and like the more modern gacha game nowadays. Like if you ask them, what's Epic 7? Huh? Like if you ask them, what's Counter Side, bro? You get what I'm saying? So I think it's completely fine that Genshin is your first gacha game. In fact, without Genshin, like whether or not you want to glaze or don't glaze a video, Genshin Impact has made like generational impact on the entire gacha industry, right? So that's okay, right? That's fine.
But when I first started back in October of 2020 during Klee's first ever banner,
Holy shit,
none of that mattered
2020 is
because Genshin was pretty magical early on.
insane.
Not only was it special because back then you really didn't have to worry about power creep. You could pretty much build any character you wanted if you liked them.
Power
But there
creep
was this feeling of
mentioned.
newness that came with starting out in
Power
1.0.
creep
This
mentioned.
open world was laid out before you with two beautifully designed nations. The music was, and still is, so gorgeous and
Absolutely.
immersive.
Bro, Genshin
Playing with
music is
headphones
like,
and just
it's so
listening
nice.
to the
Just
soundtrack
smidge
while
bit
running around
below
with your favorite
Goryo, but
characters
Genshin
was
music
so
is really, really
lovely.
nice.
There
So
were little
one
puzzles
of
to
the
solve
top
and
3
stories
musics.
to tell, all backdropped by a beautiful landscape. The story told by the Archon quests was relatively simple, but the characters were interesting and so lovable that they gave the quests life in their own way.
Okay.
And then there
That's
were
nice.
events like the first Lantern Rite and the first Wind Bloom. Don't get me wrong, I think there have been some really good Lantern Rites in recent years. The one featuring Gaming comes to mind, but I really don't think that the sheer innocent joy that came with these events early on will ever be matched in the future.
I see.
And plus I think that Genshin has kind of forgotten about Wind Bloom. But like
What
the
is
cutscenes
Wind
were
Bloom,
so
bro?
beautiful. Izuma,
Okay, like-
Sumeru, and Fontaine, again all beautiful.
Everything that she has said, from Mondstadt to Lee, everything, I'm just like, I have no idea what she's saying. I mean, I played them, like the Argo Quest, I played them, but the events, bro, like, Genshin doesn't rerun events. And frankly speaking, even if Genshin did rerun events, I don't think I'm going to be able to play them, right? So I'm really glad that she enjoyed her time with like the earlier days of Genshin from back in 2020, right? Literally it's 2020, right? So but and I want to do, I'm just going to be like, yep, I see.
There's so much
Oh,
lore to
yeah,
be
we have
found,
the,
you might never see it
Constitution,
all
Wisdom,
unless you
Focus,
peruse the
Relaxing.
Genshin Wiki.
My favorite.
One of my favorite examples of
Genshin
all of the
event
records
of
and
all
notes
time.
you can. When Inazuma was boring me to death in the middle, or when it was busy underdeveloping
wait,
Raiden
people
A,
really hated
I could at least
Inazuma, huh?
maybe see Kazuha sometimes, who is still one of my favorite characters in the game to this day.
Kazuha.
A gacha game relies on
That's
its
so
characters like almost no other type of game does. If you want people to pull for them, they have to appeal. And most of them did. They had beautiful designs and interesting personalities that sealed the
Fantastic.
deal. So yes, Genshin is one of my favorite games.
Hmm.
But I'm also its biggest hater. And I know what you're gonna say. You're just nostalgic. That's the only reason you think it was better
The
back then.
biggest hater.
But I have proof. I mean, why else would I make a whole
I
video
thought the
essay
biggest
on an
hater-
unestablished YouTube channel if I didn't have proof? So, Natlan.
Oh,
In case you're unfamiliar, Genshin bases its nations on real-world cultures in terms of
Natlan.
visual inspiration.
Okay, so
the
this
names
is
of
where
the
Genshin went to
characters,
shit.
and the nation's customs.
Okay.
Mondstadt is based largely on Germany.
Okay, so this is where
Liyue on
Genshin went to
China,
shit.
Inazuma on Japan. I will say I do find it odd that the regions based on parts of the world where historically many black and brown people have lived are a mishmash of many different cultures, and that the characters are whitewashed versions of these people. It just gives me pause, to say the least.
Okay,
And one of the
wait.
major
Just
problems
pause
people
real
had
quick, right?
was the
Just to
character.
pause real quick. Bro, I remember when Natlan when Natlan was like first announced as a region with like Mavega and everything, right, all the cards, right, there was just like a distinct period on Twitter and TikTok where like a lot of people made like fan arts or fan edits on all of the essentially Natlan characters to make them like dark skinned, like way darker skinned than usual. Yo, are you gonna sleep? Oh, okay. Nah. Yeah, as I was saying, they keep making them like way more like dark skinned than usual, which made this huge controversy amongst the Genshin Impact community as to why is Mavega like so white, right? Like why is like Mornani like not dark enough? And like you only had like or like why is so like they did this whole charade. I think it lasted for like more than a week actually, and it was like a big thing with Natlan. To that, I don't really have anything to say because I personally don't really think it's that big of a deal on the tone of like the melon and everything, right? Okay, I guess it would be pretty cool if like Maverick was like more 10 or something. Purely not because of like the ethnicity, but it's just like she's a sun god, right? She is the god, the pyro archon, right? So like if she's a pyro archon, then wouldn't she be more 10? Because like the sun is like all she's doing. So she would just literally get more. Okay, but that's just me. Okay, anyways, let's move on a little bit.
There's access to modern technology and concepts like motorcycles, flying guns, rollerblades, and DJ sets. I'm not even necessarily mad at the idea of having more modern tech in Natlan, but the problems lie more in the execution. First, Natlan made a point to set up an aesthetic style for Natlanese technology, like that within the ancient Sacred Mountain area, but then they only used it in that area. If Mawika's motorcycle or Shilonen's DJ set looked anything like this, and not like sleek, modern variations of those objects, maybe they wouldn't have felt so out of place. And another problem with the tech is that no one else in Natlan, other than the playable characters, use it at all. You don't see any other Natlanese people rollerblading or driving vehicles. They probably wouldn't feel so out of place if other people in the 6 tribes had access to this stuff.
Why
there
are
is
they in the
perhaps no
club?
location
Okay, so
in
basically,
Natlan
I
that
think
is so
this main complaint. Okay, the second complaint that this creator had with Natlan is that the technology that I guess like a lot of the characters use, they were like very futuristic, which felt out of place compared to the technology that you see in Natlan. Because Natlan just it doesn't feel like a city, right? It's not a city. It's like a whole ass like tribe kind of thing. And then you have like bikes and like DJs and like the wheels and all that kind of stuff. So it to her probably like it broke the immersion, right? It maybe broke the immersion. So if you would have asked me, I have no idea what's the lore. I don't know what's the lore and like the reasoning why they have like future tech, so I can't say anything. But very
out of place as the Easy Breeze holiday resort. I did love the lore that this location provided for Bennett, but everything else about it is so ass, dude. It genuinely feels like a different game to walk around this resort. Unfortunately, the visual aspects aren't Natlan's only faults. I and many others also found the lore and quest of this region to be pretty lacking too.
The
We'll start with
lore
the
of
basics.
Natlan
Each nation
is
in Tibet
lacking.
has a divine ideal that is
Alrighty,
represented by the
refer this one
Archon.
for chat at
So
this
far,
point.
we've been introduced to 6
Okay, actually,
ideals
you know what?
of
I do know a little bit about Natlan's lore as a complete Genshin tourist, So, to my understanding, the entirety of the nation of Warding, it is not a war within the tribes. It is a war against a greater evil, right? It's like the fucking black. Is it? I don't even know what's it called anymore. It's like black tide, dark wave. It's like somewhat of a greater evil, and then you unite the people as one to challenge and take on this greater evil. And at the same time, in that process of eventually like uniting, Maveka is basically the Pyro Archon, where she has to take on this burden to have the hopes and strength of everyone mounted on her as like the girl, right? Like she is the one. She is the honored one. And what if she is not gonna be able to fulfill these wishes or these like expectations? And then eventually there was like a little bit of the fight. I still remember there was that part with Capitano. That was pretty interesting, right? Then eventually Capitano was down on the throne and like people started to see the sky and everything. So that is like my super baseline understanding of how Natlan was like to
7.
me as a nation.
Freedom, contracts, eternity, wisdom, justice. How does she represent war? Well, she's fighting a war against the Abyss, like everybody else into that.
Okay, the
yeah,
Abyss.
Maybe they have it
okay.
worse than other nations, but still, what happens when the war ends? Which it does at the end of the Archon quest. It's not like Mawika is some battle-crazed maniac. At most, she's just kind of thoughtless and reckless in her actions. Do you see how war doesn't really work as a divine ideal, and least of all with Mawika as its representative? Also, it's a nation of war made up of 6 different factions, and yet there's absolutely no conflict between them. It really just doesn't make any sense. This is why I personally always thought it would be cool if the Pyro Archon was a villain to her people. Maybe she makes them fight each other gladiator style for her own entertainment. And then maybe we would have a better rebellion storyline than Inazuma with an Archon that's completely irredeemable.
Bro, that's like, okay, like, I don't know where that came from, bro. That's the same as saying, like, bro, imagine if Phynon. Okay, I guess he technically did, right? Phynon did technically start killing all of the Chrysos hairs. But I imagine if I was like, nah, fuck Amphorius. Bro, I just want to see all of the different people in Amphorius get into a gladiator fight to see who is the greatest titan. We'll have a fucking Polax versus Nikedor. We'll have like the fucking like Aquila versus like the dragon guy just as like a brawl. And then Final will be like, oh yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Instead, in Mawika, we have an Archon who is a Mary Sue. Ironic when she's the only Archon who is actually a human and would likely have the most flaws out of any of them. The thing is, Mawika is very flawed. She is extremely irresponsible and brash even when it will put the lives of her entire nation at stake. Her nation is at war with the Abyss, and she's like, well, best thing I can do for you guys now is go to sleep for 500 years and hope and pray that the heroes I need will appear to me when I need them. Ooh. What? Just focuses on the fact that Mawika had to say goodbye to her family in order to put this plan into action. Dog, I do not care. The writing.
She is alarming right now.
On what's important
okay, like
here.
I have no idea what is the reasoning behind why she went to stay for 500 years and then she went with the family and everything. There was like this brief moment she had like there was like this history of like how she was like looking like with like her sister or something, and how she can never meet like her group of family because she will no longer be in that same time frame because she traveled out from the original family, right? Because she wanted to go into this step so she can never see them ever again. But other than that, I don't really know too much. Essentially, I think this creator don't think Mawika should have go to sleep for 500 years, and she should have done more actions herself to try and save or like protect the people of Natlan, essentially. Right.
It just makes her out to be the perfect Archon who's good at everything and refuses to fail. There were no memorable parts of that quest for me, except for maybe the final battle. And it's not even like the characters here can make up for this nation's incredibly boring and stupid story. For me, all of them were so nothing. It boggles my mind that
she hates
it's
Colombina.
Hard to forget how hyped people were when the first
she doesn't
trailer
like
for the new
Colombina.
area after that, Nodcry, was released. Nodcry is a subnation of Snezhnaya, the last of the 7 nations we were supposed to visit in our search for our lost twin. So naturally the lore is getting pretty intense here. But the reaction to seeing so many lore-relevant characters in one trailer was immense. But the true problem with the region unfortunately falls on the back of one character for me. One that was so highly anticipated, not just by me, but by so many people in this fandom.
Oh, is this the
But
Colombina
she delivered
part?
so little.
Oh, is this the
Colombina.
Oh,
I know.
no.
There's a lot of Colombina lovers out there. But I'm sorry. There are so many reasons I cannot stand this woman.
Oh my god, what did she do?
Part of it is because she's a complete disappointment.
What the
You might be
She's
familiar with the way that people thought
disappointment?
Colombina was going to be a creepy character. maybe leaning into the biblically accurate angel aesthetic. There was a super popular theory that Colombina was a member of the canonical angel race, so this would make sense in a way. This creepy aesthetic for Colombina was also explored in a beautiful animation for Hoyo Fair called Stairway to Heaven by Kieru. The imagery is so spooky and it uses like analog horror elements. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it after this. Oh my god,
really
it's amazing.
Cool, actually, yeah.
And this assumption that Colombina
really
would be scary was not for nothing. People are always
she wants
like,
Colombina
you just
to
had
be
an image in
scary.
your head of what you wanted Colombina to be, and now you're disappointed that it didn't happen. And even if that is partially why people are disappointed, there is still in-game evidence and evidence in lore-relevant YouTube videos to support what people thought about her.
Okay.
Let's go over some, shall we?
I see.
Colombina's appearance. Let's go over what we knew she looked like from our first look at her, the Winter Nights Lazzo trailer. First, she has black and dark pink hair, colors that do not suggest something delicate or gentle. However, these dark colors are paired with Colombina's winged headdress. Finally, Colombina has her eyes covered, suggesting maybe an unfeeling or uncaring personality, or maybe some mysterious power that lies behind her eyes. 2. Colombina's actions.
That's fantastic. Okay, wait. Just real quick, right? Just super quick. I think this is purely up to your interpretations on the initial impressions you would have for any unit in a game, right? Because no one actually knows what Colombina is actually like until they reveal her in the story, right? Okay, like for example, all the analog horror and like the fan art where like she was like really fucking scary, right? I mean, they are just like personal interpretations of like what you want a character to feel based on what you think will fit. But when we as a player, when I as a player gets exposed to Colombina, I don't really know what she's like, right? Like, I'm not gonna say Colombina should be evil because she has black hair, right? Or like if she were to have like the like for example like the little wings, which does have like ties to like a seraph. So whether or not they have like these kind of like angelic ties, right? She's a like super creepy angels with black hair, white hair, whatever hair it's gonna be. It is just like first impressions of what you see that character is right now before you ever play the story. At least for me as a Genshin tourist, I really like the way they portrayed Colombina at the end, because while she might look like maybe not evil, I think evil is a bit strong. Maybe she just looks cold, right? She gives off like the like if I just see Colombina for the first time, she will give me like Jiao Qiu vibes because she closes her eyes, or like the guy from Bleach, where like he's always closing his eyes. So like, these kind of like characters that close their eyes, usually what I would expect is that, oh, they are like more like not revealing their full capabilities. And then when they open their eyes, it's like, oh my goodness, they are actually like so fucking cool, right? So that was like my initial experience. Not necessarily like evil, but like they are like more reserved, right? More cool until like something big happens. So it would make me want to expect more to come out from her in the story on when she does see, right? When she decided to see, right? When she decided to fucking open her eyes and see, I would like to see a stark difference between like what her personality would be like. Whether be it was she gonna be like evil or like not evil or like happy, whatever, at least a stark contrast to this initial impression. It would make me like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. Which I like the way that they did the whole cute way, right? Like she was like getting the head thrown by the pillow, and like she was very, very caring of Sandrone, right? Her relationship with Sandrone, right? The little poop, right? And then when she was like comforting Sandrone after, what's her name again? Rosalind. Yeah, after Rosalind went birthday explode, right? I like that, right? So that is gonna be my Genshin tourist impression of Colombina. Anyways.
Finally, Colombina has her eyes covered, suggesting maybe an unfeeling or uncaring personality, or maybe some mysterious power that lies behind her eyes. 2. Colombina's actions. In the trailer, she is singing a soft lullaby, smiling gently while laying along the coffin of her recently deceased fellow Harbinger. Okay. I don't care what anyone says, that's creepy. It shows that she kind of has this detached attitude regarding death, especially of her own colleague. 3. What other...
Okay, like, I guess, okay, maybe, I don't know, right? Okay, if I were to be like a first person, like, perspective of like seeing how she's reacting to Rosalind's death, the way I would see is that she's not detached from her death, but she is the complete opposite, because she's the only one that's like holding on to the grave, and she's like singing like a song, like, because her comrade died, right? So if anything, she's like the least detached. Okay, but that is the vibe that I got as a tourist, essentially, right?
So, death, especially of her own colleague. 3. What other characters say about her?
You should be careful around her.
Even Child sounded scared to challenge her to a battle, and he loves fighting with strong opponents.
Okay.
Scaramouche also suggests staying away from her and implies that she is not as innocent as she seems.
Let me ask. What should you do if you were to encounter a damsel who is oblivious and innocent at any given time? I would stay away from her.
The way that I've seen people defend this is by saying that Child and Scaramouche are bad at reading people, and they didn't know her that well, so of course their assumption would be wrong.
Okay.
They just knew that she was powerful. Dude, you are not getting at the reason why these voice lines are put in the game. Yes, they are useful for showing the relationships between characters and what characters think about each other, but they should also be used to provide hints and information about characters that we haven't met yet. If you put in a voice line about Colombina not being what she seems, then people are going to listen to that and assume that she's not what she seems, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think people just aren't willing to admit that Genshin has bad and inconsistent writing sometimes. 4th, her rank. Colombina was long known to be...
I would say though, whatever she said about whether or not they read Colombina correctly or did not read Colombina correctly, I think just based on these two voice lines on whether or not we should fight or don't fight her, like I wouldn't want to approach her, it doesn't really tell me whether she's like a scary character. It's more so she's an unknown character. Like they don't know what really to expect. So it's less so about how scary Colombina is, but it's just not a lot of people actually get how she is as a character, which eventually towards the story in Not Cry, we understand her as we play the story, right? And I think it kind of fits because the entire vibe previously, it was like she's a character that not a lot of people understood. And towards the middle of Not Cry, when you eventually get to the realization of what she actually is, it would make sense from like the mysterious part to the less mysterious part, because they will slowly reveal like why she's the way that she's acting as it is, right? Okay, anyways, let's move on a little bit.
Colombina was long known to be the 3rd Harbinger. It's also been known for a long time that the closer they are to number 1 in the rankings, the more powerful they are. Colombina being number 3, especially right below Dottore, who is notably unhinged and evil, suggests that she is not only similarly powerful, but also similarly devoted to her work as part of a major villain faction. I cannot stress this enough. Clearly, there is a wealth of evidence to support the theories that people had about Colombina. I'm tired of people pretending that it wasn't there, and I'm tired of people pretending that it wouldn't have worked tonally. There is literally human experimentation, but no. Instead, we learn that Colombina is actually a moon goddess, but also she's actually just a damsel in distress, like her name suggests. She's timid and soft-spoken and gentle, and she's shy at first, but eventually opens up to you, and you are the most special person in her life, even though you've known her for maybe 2 weeks. I cannot stand how willfully obtuse people will be about Colombina, pretending not to see the fan service that is sitting right in front of them. She hides behind the traveler.
Oh my god,
she
she
doesn't
said
know
it.
how to talk to
Colombina is a
people.
fan service.
She likes to eat snacks. You get to feed her during moon prayer night while the English VA is moaning into the mic every 2 seconds.
Wait, what? She was
so
moaning?
weak. She can't do anything by herself and probably would have died if the traveler hadn't rescued her.
We gotta play that shit.
People like to pretend that it's somehow misogynistic to point this out. Again, purposefully ignoring that Hoyo is writing her this way intentionally. Guys, I kid you not, she literally turns invisible for a significant portion of the Archon quest. I promise you, that is not feminist. And it's not even like the moon goddess thing makes any sense. They even come up with some last-minute reason why she covers her eyes. There was a time when I refused to look upon the world. I believed it was full of nothing but lies and falsehoods. I wished to hide my feelings, seal my heart, until I could return to my true home.
Bro, she sounds like a jackass.
If this is what they originally planned to do with her, which it wasn't, then she was a goddamn waste of a Harbinger slot.
Oh my god, I visualize seeing when Bufflip explode. Oh my god, all my friends are dead. Now I have to go ahead and carry on the core flames and beat off Iron Tomb so that I can save Amphorius. Oh my god, it's all... Bro, that would be fucking crazy.
It is so clear to me that she was never their original intention for the moon goddess. Her design suffers so bad as a result of Hoyo's ineptitude. I mean, look at these colors. They don't go together at all. Oh my god, she's so beautiful. No, she's not. Her design is two different designs smashed together. In fact, these colors only look okay together when they purposefully give the outfit more purple tones, which they could have just as easily done in the game model, but they didn't. I completely believe the idea that Nodcry, or that this character at least, was rewritten at some point because there was no indication that they had any semblance of a plan for such a highly anticipated character. And the most frustrating part about all of this to me,
they have no idea how to write Colombina.
Actually leans into several of the things that people thought about Colombina, but only enough that it feels like they're teasing and laughing in the face of their fans, as if we read into it too much or something. Genshin is allergic to having playable characters who are morally gray or irredeemable. This leads to what I lovingly refer to as the Genshin villain problem. The first is that the character is redeemed and then becomes friends with the Traveler before becoming playable. This is what has happened to every playable Harbinger thus far. Tartaglia fights anything that moves, but he respects the Traveler even though they have different motives and values. He only ever wants a friendly spar with them. Scaramouche has no one else who understands his past and is connected with the Traveler in that way. Arlecchino is a ruthless woman who is grooming children to be a part of the Fatui, but it turns out that the House of the Hearth is a lot less sinister under her rule, so that's okay too, I guess. In Colombina,
this battle was never about fate. It's about friends.
This is the most obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life.
The second way it goes is that the character cannot be redeemed and is therefore killed off so that they won't become playable. This is what happened to Signora way back in Inazuma, and most recently it happened to Dottore. This was honestly shocking to me, especially considering how much of a fan favorite Dottore is. Little did you know, though, that there is a secret third option, which is what they did to Capitano, a combo of options 1 and 2. They redeemed him and then still killed him off anyway. What a strange decision that was. Again, for a character that was extremely highly anticipated, it's like they don't understand their own visual cues. A perfect example of this to me is Escoffier.
What the fuck
Maybe,
is she
again, this might be just me, but even she gave me creepy vibes in the silhouette teaser from the live stream where they revealed upcoming characters for 2025.
What is she?
She has this hair that sticks out, the shape of which largely resembles horns and conveys a sort of like wildness of her personality. She has a devil's pitchfork tail that's positioned up where we can clearly see it. And she's holding a sharp knife up. Like, she looked psycho.
Misogynist. Ooh, Chad, this topic is gonna be pretty
It's an anime gacha game. You have to expect fan service.
Oh, this is a pretty war
I know
topic.
that, but Genshin used to be different from other games in its genre, and I mean that genuinely. There used to be a much better ratio of female to male 5-star characters than many other gacha games, because so many gacha games are targeted at male audiences who aren't perceived as being interested in the male characters. And there were sexy character outfits, especially on the women, lots of detached sleeves, short skirts, also known as the coochie flap, thigh-high socks, or boots. But they were nowhere near as bad as they are now. These women are nearly naked now. And not only does that make me mad and uncomfortable from a standpoint of being a woman who feels objectified, Yae Miko is similar to Lisa in terms of teasing personality, although Miko can get a bit more cruel and self-indulgent with it.
Bro,
she has a sharper
Miko
eye
is-
shape than Lisa's gentle
it's
round
up
eyes
there,
to
bro.
indicate this part of
It's
her
up
personality. Her outfit is also a stylized version of a
God
traditional
damn.
Japanese shrine maiden outfit, giving her the required amount of gacha game sexiness while also
Pause.
showing...
I'm gonna have to stop you right there, right? Show me a single traditional Japanese shrine maiden where her literal side tits are hanging out, bro. The answer is none, right? You will never ever find that anywhere. It is probably like fucking like blasphemy to wear it. Yo, but we still have that though. And I think that's hella fucking good design, right? Having that little bit. I think she was the one of the first few instances in Genshin where we had more side boobas. Side booba and armpit really took off Yae Miko. So I think this was super
her
nice, right? But
spiritual
let's be
importance in Inazuma. One of my least favorite recent characters is Lali. Again, I know a fan...
Wait, bro. What the Oh, well, okay. I did have thought she was gonna start off with like La Uma. Because like, La Uma is like Giga Gunner mate. Because I think her standpoint was like feminism, right? Like, it's like the units are too good, mate. So I thought she was like, but was it Lali? Oh my god, bro, Baba? Okay, Baba is probably my top 3 characters in Natlan. She is so Baba-fied, right? An old woman with the trope where like she's a tsundere and she's a drunk and she's like silly and she has the right amount of like flirtatiousness with the traveler, bro. I really like that, right? Also the sleepwear is super nice. Okay, but anyway, that's great.
favorite,
I wanna
but
see.
I'm
wanna see
sorry,
this.
I do not like her. Her
Oh,
design certainly isn't the most offensive of the Natlan ones. I just find her annoying. I do think her English VA is very good at their job and that they do a great job with Lali's voice. But I really just don't like the character's writing. We will talk about that in a bit. One of the things I dislike about her design, though, is this goddamn leotard that she's wearing. This girl is literally wearing a thong. This sweater thing would go right up her butt crack. I cannot stand stuff like this. Also, side note real quick, I have to pause to talk about the state of Genshin character trailers. Can we talk about how these videos used to be actual showcases of the characters' combat abilities with like little elements
Okay, I
of
just want to
story
say,
spring-
just real quick, right? This leotard thing, right? As someone with real experience with women, right? I just want to say this. Did you know this doesn't need to be worn in such a way that it's a thong? Like, it could literally just be the illusion of getting it all the way in there. Because it's like a clip-on kind of thing. So it could very well just be the thing hides off right at your belly and then that's it. The end. So let's just move on, right?
Her design features a zipper that goes all the way around between her legs up to her back. That can't be comfortable, right? Especially riding a motorcycle. And also, what exactly does this design communicate about Mawika other than being a biker? Yeah, I guess she's got sun imagery to represent her archive.
Okay, I just want to say, I agree with this zipper thing. It doesn't really make sense for the zipper to zip all the way, not even like to her crotch, but like way back out to the ass. Because it's literally just like no one will actually wear this. But that being said though, have you seen her tits?
And then we have Veresa. I was really excited about this design when I saw the silhouette in that same teaser we were talking about earlier.
She's just a
Oh my
little
gosh,
Ika.
a girl that's a cow. Oh my god, that's gonna be so cute.
Cowgirl.
I love these braids and the big horns. I mean, I wonder what kind of color palette she'll have. Maybe like browns and greens, something earthy because she's a farm animal.
But what she do?
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I guess that works too. Just kidding.
Why?
I hate this design. One of my least favorites in the entire game.
Wait, why?
I just like, what was the point, dude? Why is she so like kawaii themed? She's got hearts and bows everywhere.
What the fuck? Bro, she's too cute. I hate this. there's that meme. There's that meme. It's like literally. Wait, what is the? There was this meme on like I'm not sure what is this. It's like literally like the cutest thing, bro. This fucking sucks, bro. Oh my goodness.
There, she wears leg warmers and a cardigan. The skirt is pointless because it's too short to cover her ass. You expect me to believe that this is a lucha libre fighter? Like I said earlier, I was interested too in Escoffier's design based on the silhouette, but I was also very disappointed with this reveal. Not only does this outfit make no sense with regards to breaking up any colors or with this weird heart theming that she has, similar to Veresa. Again, I don't know why they keep doing this, but her outfit is literally just the sexy chef Halloween costume. They would just rather put more effort into the detailing.
Okay, I just want to say one thing, right? What if this creator tried Zenless Zone Zero, bro? Bro, I think she should try Zenless Zone Zero.
Hoyo only draws these characters in impossible poses more and more for the sake of making them more goonable. No. Literally, Mizuki is posed so you can somehow see her underboob and butt at the same time. They do the same thing with Mawika. Her back is arched so heavily just so that they can display both her cleavage.
Okay, bro. At this point, it's just like I have nothing more to say because like I mean, it's all your personal preference, right? So feminism or not feminism, I'm not gonna touch that box of worms. Personally, I do like a little bit of you know. Yeah.
Oh, you caught me, and I have food all over my face. Oh no! Oh my god. I hated saying that out loud. And see, Lali is literally squishing her chest so heavily with what? A stuffed animal? A pillow? That is not how this part of the body works. This is only one of the anime fan service tropes that Genshin has increasingly leaned into over time. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type. Oh my god. It's over, guys. We only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type. Oh my god, I can't fucking say this. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type, which I personally find annoying. Lali and Sandrone are the biggest examples of this, but I would also argue that Escoffier falls into this trope sometimes. Veresa, I'm getting to you now. She was tailor-made for the feeder fetish. I kid you not, in one of her trailers, they animate food going into her stomach, and her stomach, like, jiggles and stuff, and oh my god. It is genuinely one of the most sickening and uncomfortable things I have seen coming out of this company. Her entire thing is eating comically large amounts of food. She has nothing else that matters to her character, to her personality, or anything about her. It's not like this would necessarily be bad on its own, but guys, she is literally a cow. This character is extremely insulting, and I hate her. And that's not even mentioning how she literally fights by falling on her ass. When you are playing her, she will fall and her ass will be facing the camera for multiple seconds before she gets up. In the process of making this video, Linnea has been released, and I just have to interject to say, what the fuck were they thinking with this character? I feel like a crazy person because I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't think she's adorable and in fact recognizes her for the creepy freak that she is. First of all, she clearly has absolutely no respect for living things that are not traditionally human. She keeps asking to touch and pet the Melusines as if they are not whole people. It's especially creepy because the Melusines are made to look like children. Having an adult character who is high-key obsessed with them and can't treat them as the people they are
my God.
was a fucked up move on Hoyo's part.
Pedophile.
They literally make a point to emphasize the humanity of the Melusines and how they had to fight to be accepted in Fontanian society. And now we have a playable character who we are supposed to think is cute, harassing them and treating them as though they are pets. It's disgusting. Her trailer is sickening for the same reason. She fantasizes about being rubbed up on by Siegeween, who, again, looks like a child, and Kirida, along with other Melusines and Nekomata. It reads as extremely fetishistic to me, which is a problem when the people that she's fantasizing about look like children. She chases these people around and doesn't seem to let up after being told multiple times to back off. There are multiple promotional materials in which she asks to touch a Melusine, which makes me think that it's happened more than once or twice. I mean, at least her character quest wasn't as bad. I won't spoil it, obviously, because I said I wouldn't talk about content past Luna 5, but I still don't find this character appealing or compelling at all, as I feel like I've made it very clear. She doesn't even have an interesting design to make up for it. She's literally just a copy-paste of Charlotte. Even the wish art is the same. I haven't felt such a burning hatred for a character in a long time. Hoyoverse had the opportunity to portray Linnea as a character with a disability that made it difficult for her to fit in, because that was largely the reason the myth of changelings arose in the first place. The fairies were thought to swap their fae children for a human child, which was how several mythologies explained neurodivergence in children. Instead of portraying a really heartwarming story about a character who's autism-coded, we instead get a freak who can't stop harassing anyone with non-human features. Ironic, considering how they want to portray her as an outcast who had no friends because she was a fae who looked different. Also, can we talk about how her lore...
This is like kind of concerning. So like she is what, in-game autistic? Is she? I mean, I don't even know. I didn't even play a quest. So is she autistic in-game? And if she is, no. Oh, she's not autistic. She just likes cute things. Okay, I don't know, cause like at this one, I think this creator is like using a lot of like terms that are like very, very like war-inducing, right? Like talking about like pedophiles and like if okay, it's mainly just this part. It's just like ooh, it's like so she has something to do with autism, something to do with like being pedo, and that she touches things like non-consensually and like overall I will not get into this, but oh my god, this
asking anyone was because she was a fae who looked different. Also, can we talk about how her lore makes no sense because the Tsaritsa and the Fatui are meant to be hunting down fae and eradicating them, hence why Flynn's hides his identity. But it's just completely fine that Linnea is outwardly a fae, perhaps even more obviously so than Flynn's because she doesn't cover the wings on her head or her crystal markings. Whatever. I really hope people open their eyes to how terrible this character is. Sorry if you feel kinship with her. She is not cute, she is not funny, she has no appealing character traits, and there are far better characters out there whose stories are about yearning for acceptance. If they want to wear revealing clothing, that is completely their choice. However, these women are not real and do not have the autonomy that we do. They are purposefully manufactured to be bait for the male gaze. They are animated in revealing outfits and drawn in uncomfortable poses and written into compromising situations on purpose. These developers have control over how these women are portrayed, and they choose to portray them increasingly as vessels for hypersexualization, fetishization, and fan service. That is not feminist. That's not to say that Hoyoverse doesn't do this in their other games. Zenless Zone Zero comes to mind, but to me, at least, that game is honest about what it is, and it has been since the beginning. Genshin Impact still pretends that it's this grand world of exploration it was 4 years ago, while its writing and characters suffer. Expect visual upgrades like you've never seen before, all while we refuse to visually upgrade older characters because who gives a shit about them, right? Or as we increase the shill for pay-to-win players, or for Miliastra Wonderland, which no one fucking asked for and no one cares about, and for hyper-specific gameplay mechanics that are incredibly team-limiting and rely on 2 or 3 limited characters to actually function, all while we continually offer less and less new map areas and free wishes each patch. I could go on forever about the state of this fucking game and how Hoyoverse doesn't. I think that's enough of that for now. Let's move on.
Oh, okay. Oh.
After all this complaining, people are probably thinking, it sounds like this game is causing you lots of undue stress. Maybe you should just quit and play something else. Look, maybe you don't get what it feels like to invest 5 years of your life into a game like this, with ever-expanding lore and new characters being introduced all the time. I guess maybe I didn't know what I was getting myself into at the time, back in 1.0 when I first started out. It sucks to invest so much of your time into a game only for it to let you down. I'm not gonna pretend that Genshin was perfect back then. There are so many weird, cop-outs that Hoyo pulls so that they can have sensitive themes in their games but not actually have them. Like Bennett saying that he has multiple dads, only for you to realize that it's because he's been raised by many older men in the Adventurers Guild, not because he has queer parents. But the problems have only gotten worse with time. There are even more cop-outs, like Flynn's being a victim of suicidal ideation, but he actually just went sleepy for a really long time. Or like Nicole, who is mute in name only. She just talks in people's heads using her magic so Hoyo can pretend that they have a character with a disability. Or like Nefer, experiencing racism at the hands of the academia while having the palest skin you could possibly imagine. Regarding gameplay, as I said, the shill for current characters has only gotten worse with or experiencing racism at the hands of the academia while having the palest skin you could possibly imagine.
Okay. This part, right? Okay, out of everything, I'm pretty sure racism is like, it doesn't really care what tone your skin is. Like, there's racism anywhere. Okay, personal experience, right? You know how like in Singapore, if you're Chinese, you are like 70% of the population. All right, so racism against Chinese in Singapore is like relatively rare. But if you are Chinese and you go to like America or Europe, whereas you are no longer like the majority of the population, you will most likely experience more racism there. So it really is just like super subjective to where you are, and I don't think the tone of the skin will make her like less subjective. Okay, but anyways, that's just very interesting. All right, anyways,
seeing Flynn's in that Nod Cry teaser was a lifesaver for me. Holy shit, a beautiful 5-star man with a mysterious backstory who's actually part of the meta. And oh my god, Lowen too. That face card is diabolical. It's been so long since I've been excited about characters like this. Most of the time now, I'm just like, well, Nicole's not my favorite, but I guess I'll pull for her in the future if I have no other characters I want. Or, well, Llama's design is pretty terrible, but I like her personality a lot. I want to see the Traveler reunited with their twin at the end of this journey. I want to explore Snezhnaya and Conria. Even though Alice's design ended up being a little copy-paste, I adore her and I want to pull her and put her in a team with Klee and Durin. I want to see Dainsleif become playable and hopefully introduce a new element into the gameplay. Who knows? Maybe Genshin will continue to disappoint me. Maybe there are no good villains left to meet, and maybe a playable woman in a freezing cold climate will be wearing a bikini. I'm still gonna be pissed about that. But it's quests like Durin's story quest, a beautiful tale of the devotion of motherhood and learning to make your own way in life, that give me very cautious optimism. I know that Hoyo is capable of amazing storytelling. That's what makes it so frustrating every time this game lets me down. But Hoyo, you've still got me for a while. Nice going, you made me addicted to your game, but the good stuff is what makes me want to stick around for a while. Even if it's only to watch my favorite little guys run around in my screen.
And there it is. Oh, and there it is, Chad. That is an insanely long video. Was Genshin always this weird and bad, right? The very last thing of this video is probably like my biggest advice from this creator, and I guess a lot of people in general, right? Which is I don't think you need to keep playing on a game forever because of sunk costs, whether be it you spend time or energy or money into it, because a life cycle for a game realistically can't really last forever to begin with, because like I feel that the best parts of most games, it happens when you get to try a new thing. It's a little bit like, you know, if you buy a toy as a kid, like when you buy a new toy, it's like, oh my god, this toy is so cool and everything, right? Then you'll play with it for a couple of hours, but after a while, like that same allure of the exact same toy, even though it was your favorite toy last time, you probably wouldn't want to care about it too much anymore in the future, especially if you play with it for a while and you see a new toy come out and you get a new toy, right? And I think gaming in general was originally designed like this as well, where it's not meant to be played forever, right? That's why you play like one copy of a game like back in your PS or like DS or like Game Boy, right? Maybe like 20-30 hours in, you finish the whole thing and then it's done, right? So if there is a incentive to keep playing Genshin Impact, I think it would be nice to see if the direction of the game that you continue to play is still aligned with what you originally played Genshin Impact for in the first place. Like, are you playing Genshin Impact or any games in general because they're fun? Or are you playing them because, oh, you know what, I played this game for 5 years, I might just play another day. Because at some point, when that line is no longer the same, whether you are a tourist like myself, or you are a LARPer, or you're an elitist for like lore or combat or whatever, right? It kind of loses the meaning anyways, because you're not really even enjoying yourself anyways. And if you don't enjoy yourself, then whether or not if Genshin was always this weird and bad, it really just depends. Join Discord, use code with them. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.